Oh wait, I'm sorry, I messed that up. Let's do it again. Everybody say breaking the mold.
Breaking the mold.
Ministry. Come on, that just sounds so nice. You gotta just roll off your tongue. Come on, that's what I'm talking about. Well, I just want to say, just welcome you guys, and we're about to start praise and worship. But before that, some of you are new, and so we're going to talk about what is breaking the mold ministry. And so I'm Pastor Devonte Gilchrist, and so for the last 3 years, we have been doing a totally virtual online ministry. And so when you see us all come together here, it's because it's the one or a few times during the year that we all can come together. And so the beautiful thing about us, 2020, this ministry started. And in 2020, God said, you need to go into ministry. At that time, I was working for a company, being a motivational speaker, and I was working with actually Woods at that time. That's how we know each other. And I just remember winning like presenter of the year, going to Florence, and then 2020 hit, and everything shut down. I lost my job. Didn't know what to do, went on unemployment, and during that time I was taking this one online class that God told me not to drop, because I dropped a couple, okay? Because I was doing full-time and trying to do schoolwork and that wasn't working. But the one online class I did take during that COVID time was called Marriage and Family. And Marriage Family was done online by Doctors David and Beverly Sedlacek. And today they are my mentors. I connected with my own story. I found out how to be a better husband. I found out how to be a better person. And I found out how to look at people from the inside out instead of outside in. And it really, when I really sat down, I said, nobody had ever asked me or cared enough for me to share my story. And when I wrote it down, it was 20 plus pages, recalling memories that I had basically buried just so I can appear to be perfect. And that's what people saw for a long time. Devonte was the guy that smiled and was perfect. And then a friend said to me, you know what, like, I can always come to you, but you never share with us. You never share your weakness, you never share your vulnerabilities. And so that's when I started that journey in 2020. Everything seemed like it was gonna crash. During 2020, I was supposed to get the dream wedding, just like we planned. I was supposed to continue my job, just like we planned. And I had all these plans for myself. And God took another turn. God said, you know what? You need to spend time with me. Not spend time in doing my work, the busy work, but spend time with me in my word. And during that time, about 2 months, I just remember reading every day, studying every day, thinking about mental health, and putting everything together. And before I knew it, I had 2 months of material, and I was just taking notes. And then God said in late April, I need you to do a service for the youth at your home church. I was like, I don't even go to my home church. He's like, I need you to do it. I said, okay. I asked the elder, and it was a new one. The old one had kind of retired after 40 years. New one came in, and I don't even think he really processed what I was telling him. I said, I want to start an online service for youth and young adults. The time where churches weren't doing any services, they were just doing Zoom and trying to just figure out how to unmute and mute. Okay? And it was funny because I remember during that time, and we joke about it too, I remember watching the virtual services, and somebody was eating Captain Crunch on the thing. And all you hear was on the thing, you know? And so I said to myself, no shade, right? But the youth and young adults are gonna need something else. And so I invited 3 co-workers and 4 others. And we started with and they invited some, and we started with 12 people. And when you look at the 12 people, Woods was one, the first time we did it, back in April 2020. Candace, she was the first one that was actually invited by my other co-worker. Obviously, I think Don was on as well. There were a couple others and 2 others from my home church. But we had a conversation and we were asking questions, having conversation, being real, transparent. 3 weeks later, I said, let me ask Jalissa to come on. We had like 20 people then. And Jalissa came on and she called me after. She's like, Devonte Gilchrist. She's like, I gotta tell you something. I was like, oh, what you gotta tell me? She's like, you're on to something. I was like, what am I on to? Because in my head, COVID's gonna end. This is temporary. And I'll go back to my regular life. But every single week, I was doing research, studying my Bible, asking the questions, what do young adults care about? What are they struggling with? Depression. They want to talk about sex. All different kind of topics. I said, if you don't have a place inside the four walls of a building, you'll have a place online. And somebody said to me, oh, you can't do that online. It's not personal. But then by the second month, I realized that 2 women back to back felt comfortable sharing their story of abuse and rape. And I remember Jalissa said to me, did you hear that? She's like, they just felt comfortable sharing. This is a safe space. And so by the height of the pandemic, 3 months had gone by, and I'm like, okay, everything's gonna end. We had about 107 people signing on when churches were completely closed. But I told them, this is a ministry for you. It's not about just me. I want it to be, if it can be international, it's gonna be international. That if you need a safe space to be heard because you weren't in your families, in your churches, wherever you are, then at least you can do it here. And so we see you, we love you, we care about you. And even if you might disagree, even if you might disagree or we don't always think the same way, that's okay. You go to work with people that don't think like you. You go to school with people that don't think like you. Why should church be any different? And so, as you can see, 3 years later, my original mission was that we would have people, after I realized that God was going to make this permanent, I came to peace with it, and I realized that I was learning to find my voice. A lot of you might know me as extroverted, but growing up, I didn't have my voice. So the way you see me speaking today, while you guys are watching me the first year, second year, and third year, for those that remember, I was shaking on the inside. I was like, what do I have to say? What would they care about what I would have to give? And every time somebody would say something and give an encouragement, and the Holy Spirit would remind me that I'm giving you everything that you need. Just trust me. Just trust me. And so together, we've shared a lot of tears. We've shared a lot of laughs. I've been transparent about you, about my family, my hurt, but I also told you that despite of what we've gone through, we can still mend. And I say that to say that I love all of you. Whether it's, like I told you, the 100th day I met you, that we've been together, or whether it's the first day. I love you, care about you, and we're here for you. At Breaking the Mold Ministry, we have this motto that says, be real, be biblical, and be practical. Be biblical. We still want to follow the Bible and stick to those principles. But how do you live life when you're going through depression? You need more than just pray about it. That's great, but you need other tools. When you're dealing with family dysfunction and wondering why a mother never loved you, why a father never loved you, why they didn't stick around when they should have, a pray about it is good, but actually dealing with that pain and hurt and realizing that your parents were broken, just like we find ourselves broken.